Hey, I want to circle back or square back or triangle back, whatever, to a topic that I had spoken about before once already. And about half a dozen people maybe saw it before YouTube banned it because they thought I said something that I didn't say, I think. But I don't know. YouTube doesn't tell me why they ban it. They just say it's banned, and then they're a judge, jury, executioner, and everything. So that one got executed. But anyway, I want to come back and talk about that same topic again because I think it's relevant. I think it's a good topic, and I like venting about it and talking about it. So I'm going to go on about it. Um, it's about book writing. Now I've been a paraplegic now for 5 years. I've written 14 books, and four of those books I've written since I've been paralyzed. So being paralyzed hasn't stopped me, my imagination or anything like that. It just keeps going on. I can't stop it. I can't turn it off. But I wanted to talk for a moment about my first book, which was published 20 years ago, 2005. It was called The Adventures of Guy, written by a guy, probably. And I actually didn't want to put my name on there as an author. I wanted to have somebody go, "Oh, was it written by a guy?" It doesn't know. You can't tell. But my publisher said, "How are you going to build name recognition if you don't put your name on it?" And I go, "Yeah, fine, put my name on the book." So anyway, that book came out in 2005. It was called, uh, back when there were landlines, phones with cords and everything like that. So technology was a little different. So the technology in the book was a little different. And these are about four college roommates. Um, Let me just say this: it's a crazy book, and they go on a quest because telemarketers actually steal people's brains through their phones with their telemarketing calls. And they stole the brain of the younger brother. So they decided to go on a quest and get it back. So one of them is the unbeliever. He goes, "No, this isn't happening." Another one pretends to be an elf. Another one is their sorcerer. And then they need a warrior. And they find a warrior. It's a woman who has let's say she has double PMS. So when she gets PMS, she is quite the warrior, and they go back to go try to go get the brains back from the telemarketers who turned out to be, well, I'm not going to tell you what they turned out to be because in case you want to read the book. But that was the first of three books. The second book was The Next Adventures of Guy, and in this book here, aliens are ticked off because somebody named a star, where you can pay to name a star for something that, how can somebody name a star that's far away and people getting paid for it? It's like naming a blade of grass somewhere. It's nobody's grass. But anyway, they named a star and it ticked off the aliens that lived there. So the aliens have started an invasion of Earth. So again, these college roommates have to defend the world against alien invasion. The sequel, there are three books in the Adventures of the Guy series, and the third book was called Hello Burton, and that's where Dick Cheney and George Bush invade Hell in their search for weapons of mass destruction. And the heaven sends a cherub to try to investigate what's going on, what the hell is going on in Hell. But the cherub can't get in there because he is disguised as an attorney, and attorneys are being kicked out of hell because there are too many of them in hell. So I have fun picking on attorneys and telemarketers and just about anybody. So my books it's crazy stuff, and I think I was influenced by the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is very crazy stuff too. And when reviewers started comparing my books to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it made me feel awesome. That was the feeling I wanted, and it was working. Now, Hitchhiker's Guide, if you don't know that book, and they did a movie on it as well. I think they might have done two movies. The movie sucked, but the books are awesome. And in that one, an alien lives on Earth, or he's staying on Earth, and he's writing a book about how you can hitchhike through the galaxy. And then he learns that that there's going to be an intergalactic, um, let's call it a highway that's going to go right through the Earth. So they need to blow up the Earth and get rid of the Earth for this expressway in the sky. So they hitchhike and they go into the world, and then meanwhile the dolphins who live here, they're actually aliens as well, and they learn about this and they go, okay, we're out of here, and they they wrote a note to the humans saying so long and thanks for all the fish, on a gift that they left us on things. So it's crazy stuff. I mean, my brain doesn't stop thinking about these things. My book since then, Mooned, is about a dog and a cat turned into werehumans by their werewolf master. You've got Fangface and Werewolf, which are two young adult books that I did about a girl in high school who starts turning into a vampire, and they have to try to fight against it, and werewolves get involved in all the other stuff. So it's just crazy stuff. I write crazy, crazy stuff, and but why am I talking about it here? Right now, I think it's because there's competition out there, and it's a wild competition. It's one you would not expect to happen. There's a story that went around where some people, conspiracy theorists, were saying that Hillary Clinton is a lizard person, and she's a pedophile. You're running a pedophile ring, um, including having them in a basement of a pizzeria. And somebody actually believed this and invaded that pizzeria and found out there was, in fact, no basement to it. And the whole thing about Hillary Clinton being a lizard, she was senator from New York. I think if you really knew that, you would realize that if she was a lizard person, she couldn't have lived in New York, especially during the winter. I mean, I've seen pictures of her in the snow. Lizards. My daughter lives in Florida. One of our daughters does. And when the temperature gets below 45, lizards are falling out of the trees because they're cold-blooded. So somebody though made up that story, and a lot of people believe it. Including one guy with a gun who went into the pizzeria. Then there's like immigrants eating your dogs and cats, and after a certain person got elected, you don't hear that story much anymore. But and then there's another story that you would hear is kids would go to school and come back a different sex. So what are they having surgery, 1 day surgery that they don't even have to stay for recovery, uh, and then they come back as a different sex. And I can hear my dog barking out there. If you hear a little bit of barking, my dog's probably Amazon showing up or something. But anyway, so kids going to school and coming back a different sex. I think actually I figured that one out finally. Is I think that in California they could go to school, and if you're in a school, you could say you want to be identified by a different pronoun, and that. So maybe they're not talking about an actual surgery, but I believe that was what he was saying for a while, because that was what he was saying. Trump, the guy that's our president now, was saying that people would go to school and come back a different sex. Um, it's just crazy stuff going on there. Like other stories, like when they said that Soros, was starting the fires in California with space lasers. Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau, being the son of Fidel Castro, I okay, Trump's new one. He said that we paid $8 million to transgender mice, and I don't think that he knew that the word he actually wanted was transgenic, which means to change the genes, not the sex of them. And that was being done to study Alzheimer's. But it was funny because as Trump was saying this in front of hundreds of millions of people, his Vice President Vance and Johnson, the Congress, head of Congress, are behind him nodding in approval. They're agreeing. They're saying, yeah, we paid all this money to change the gender of a mouse from male to female or vice versa, when that was not even close to what had happened, but they just believe this stuff, and it's I don't know, maybe I mean maybe the word trans confuses them. Like maybe he thinks that transportation means that the whole nation moves a kid to change his or her sex. I don't know, crazy stuff. Um, and I know that Trump is not the writer of it. I mean, I know he's written books that have sold way more than what my books have, but the difference between him and me is I wrote my books, and his biographer said he didn't write a single one of his books. I mean, I believe he does his tweeting. That's probably the only writing that he does, and I believe that because A, it's doesn't make sense. B, it's got a lot of misspellings and grammatical errors, and C, is being written in the middle of the night when most people are sleeping instead of sitting on their toilet in the White House and things. But anyway, it's the other thing is I've been thinking a lot lately about humor and whether you're right wing or left wing. And if you look at the late night hosts, you've got the Jon Stewarts, the Colberts, the Kimmels, John Oliver, Samantha Bee. They all lean Democrat. And where are the right wing comedians at night? Where are they? I'm then you've got Saturday Night Live too. Again, comedy and left wing. I mean, they're admittedly left wing. But I think the reason that they're left wing is I think they were perfectly willing to pick on Democrats, but Democrats don't do the crazy things that the Republicans do. I mean, sure, Biden. There were some things you could pick on Biden for. Especially when he would misspeak and things. But I mean, here's a guy who had a speaking impediment, and are you going to make fun of an impediment? Are you going to make fun of me because I'm in a wheelchair on things? I mean, if he had a speech impediment, that's one thing. If he's starting to lose it mentally a little, something that's something different. But I would say the guy that's in the White House now is losing at least as much mentally as what Biden did, if not way more. I really wish those two would have taken some kind of test, and compared each other on these things. I'm pretty certain that Biden would have kicked Trump's butt on that. But anyway, you just don't see a whole lot of comedy on the right. I mean, you've got, the Tim Allens, that he's on the right, but he's not doing a night show or anything. And he and I went to the same college, Western Michigan University. I was on the business on East Campus, and he was on the West Campus dealing drugs, which he went to jail for, on things. But then there's a guy named Gutfeld that they say does right wing comedy at night. Joe Rogan. But I mean, I've seen some Joe Rogan videos, and I don't think he's really all that comedic. I mean, he laughs at his own things, but I don't think he's that funny on things. But anyway, I I just had to talk about it again. How we humor writers have competition out there by some conspiracists who write wild fiction that is crazier than some of the stuff that we come up with. I mean, here I wrote about telemarketers being aliens, and here they are talking about the lizard people that are taking over our government, in the deep state. So I don't know, it's weird. I mean, so the Christopher Moores and the Dave Barrys and me, I'd like to lump myself with those two if I can. We have some serious competition when it comes to writing funny stuff, except for with us, we're trying to amuse people and have fun with it. They're trying to manipulate people. And ours, we admit it's fiction, and they claim it's not, but there are people that believe it. I, I don't know how you can. I don't know how you can believe those things. So I don't know. Just thought I would have some fun talking about this, and I don't think I said anything that YouTube can ban on this one here. I didn't repeat what I said before, but I did want to talk about it and have some fun with it, and talk about my latest book, which is Wild Crazy Fiction: Cave Mannerisms, Comedic Stories from the Cave. This is really fun stuff. Check my stuff out on YouTube, on Kindle, and you can, like I said before on previous ones, you can go into Kindle and read the beginning of most of my books and see if you like my style, see if you like the way I write. And if you don't because it's too comedic for you, fine, go find something that's more serious. But maybe it'll be something that'll get you laughing and get you having fun and enjoying your time. So anyway, I want to thank you again. My website, www.normcowie.com. That's COWIE. Thank you very much for listening and watching and whatever else you might be doing. But I can't see what you're doing, so you could be doing anything, and I don't know. So anyway, thank you again. All right, take care. Bye-bye.